Now, before we get into it, this episode is brought to you by my Inspiring Kids Home program. Now, developing social and emotional skills for kids is the most paramount thing for their overall well-being. Getting kids to understand their emotions, getting to make friends with their big feelings, and also learning about self-acceptance, because one of the things is self-acceptance is so powerful. Once a kid can go, I am okay the way I am, then that can open the door to so many amazing possibilities. So, to get started on the home program, just click the links below. Should we just get going? So, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready, Gary? Okay, are you ready? Okay, you ready?
I thought it was on the phone, so Josh really kindly gave me some extra time to wash my hair.
Are you ready?
Yep, ready as all can be.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
The world is about to be a brighter, safer and happier space for our teens and tweens, thanks to Lauren Adlam. Lauren has created a brand new app called Zown, which is a safe space for these kids to hang out. Plus, it comes with a parent portal full of so many resources. So, let's get to find out more about Zown and the lady behind it, Lauren Adlam. Pour a cup of coffee, take the cat for a walk, meow, whichever way you want to do it, and let's chat to Lauren about Zown. Lauren Adlam, thank you so much for coming on my show. How are you?
I'm really well, Josh. Thank you for having me.
Now, look, let's jump straight into it. What is Zown? Zown.
Correct. So Zown is a brainchild. I'd like to call it my fifth child, actually, that has been developed over the last couple of years. And Zown comes in two parts. The main part is an app, and it's an app for kids, ideally targeting kids that are 8 to 14 in those formative and really important years, to show them that there's a whole lot of good in the world. So Zown was born as a way to try to cut through what I see is some of the negativity of social media. There's some great stuff in social media too, but it can be a bit negative. And so it's a place for kids to go where they're going to find good news, affirmations, positivity, and also a heap of resources to help them get through those really formative years. Resources on puberty, on vaping, on friendship issues, study habits, nutrition, things that are really positively positioned to help them thrive in those years.
And so the app is just, it's in its own enclosed world, isn't it? It's not connected.
Correct.
Okay.
It's its own enclosed world. There is connectivity and connection between users, but it's all moderated. So there's no opportunity for, there's opportunity for users to submit content. So an area that I'm really excited about is called our Contributors Corner, where you could, if you were a Zown user aged between 8 and 14, submit a book review or a recipe or a random act of kindness. And rather than me then coming on and going, oh, Josh has submitted this, I think that's a terrible idea, messaging you privately going, Josh, that's the worst review I've ever seen, you would be submitting it as user J432, and you would have anonymity so that you're not then potentially targeted by a mean person out there.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea.
It's a safe space. Yeah,
So
thank you. I'm quite excited about that part.
So where did the idea for Zown come from? What was the origin story?
So I've got 4 kids of my own. They're all currently tweens and teens. And it was when one of my kids was about 10 or 11, and they were going through what I would describe as a roller coaster of emotions. And I didn't know how to help. As it turns out, I didn't really need to help. We kind of just had to write it out. But I literally came home from dropping to school one morning and got out an A3 piece of paper and started mind mapping. And I thought, if they're dealing with these issues in what I would call a secure home environment, popular, sporty, outgoing, kind of ticking the mainstream boxes, I thought, what are other kids going through? And so that's when I just started throwing ideas around. I don't have a technical background, but I thought, an app is a way to reach these kids, and let's use these devices that I've got access to for good rather than evil, and find a safe space. Look, since Zown came to being, there are other apps that are also targeting the positivity and the safe side, like We Are 8, which is targeted at adults. And at first, when that came out, I thought, oh gosh, that's a threat. But actually, no, I'm going to hopefully work in partnership and really find a way for the future where there's a whole lot of greatness in these kids' pockets.
I was going to say, because kids are pretty savvy these days, and
They
they're
are.
switched on, and they're going to go, what's lame, what's not. What about Zoom is going to make kids go, I need this?
Zone, not Zoom. I wish it was
Zone.
Zoom.
Whoa.
Zoom's very successful. We should come up with that concept. Look, that's a really good question. And that is something that I am constantly grappling with, because what I think is cool, I'll often show my kids and they'll literally say, "I roll, Mum, that's not cool." So we've added in some gamification in there as well. So within the app, every day, a child will receive an affirmation of the first thing in the morning. You know, you can set your time, but our recommendation is first thing in the morning. So instead of waking up to a text from a friend saying that they're not invited to the party on the weekend because they've done something to upset them, they get something positive. It's an image of something they love and a positive thought for the day. Could be as simple as have a great day, or it could be more of an affirmation. So that's the first draw card, is it makes them feel good to start their day. Then there's some gamification in there as well. There's ability to set goals, there's countdowns and calendars, and there's also really relevant information to be able to A, be informed, and B, form connections with others. And so for the kids, we are trying to position it so that it's really cool and it's in touch with what they are wanting and needing in life. And one of the things that I'm looking at doing probably in the next 6 months is actually developing a youth advisory committee, so that I have kids telling me what they want. It's all good and well for me to say what kids want, but they want to be listened to, not heard. I mean, they want to be listened to, not told. So, I'm trying to find a subsection of kids that tick a lot, you know, kind of a cross-section of kids, I should say, from all different areas in Australia, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, to understand exactly what it is they're looking for.
So what feedback have you had so far from kids? Because it's been out for a couple of months now.
Been out for a couple of months, and we've been we have been intentionally slow to make sure that we're getting the feedback as we go. We did some quite extensive market research before we launched, and the feedback has been great. The feedback has been, this is really positive, it makes me feel good, I like to engage with it. We don't want kids sitting in Zone all day. We want them to be able to tap in, go, yes, that's great, and then tap out again. Or we want them to say, oh, I really not quite sure about how to handle this situation. I'm going to search for that in the Discover section, find that information, and then go again. So the feedback has been really positive. We're now at the point where I'm ready for it to take off, and we're fully ready for it. We've just started some influencer campaigns, more so on the parent side than the kids side, but all of these conversations are really helpful for us to get the word out, for more kids to understand what Zone's capable of, and it's totally free. So it's an easy thing for kids to jump in and understand if they like it, and to give us feedback if they don't, all the things they love.
Great idea. Because what I think is even more fantastic, you've got the parent portal.
Correct.
So you've got all these resources for parents. Talk about that.
So that's the other side. So when I was having this experience with my own kids of thinking, how do I help? I didn't know where to look for a trusted source of information. And there is excellent information out there. That's partly how I've found you, by finding your excellent information. So I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I'm trying to create a directory as the parent portal to send people out for different resources, to Maggie Dent, to Steve Bedoff, to Justin Coulson, to Michelle Mitchell, etc. People who are experts in their field, and having one starting point to be able to access this information. So the parent portal will is updated regularly with content. We also have a psychologist working with us to create some of our own content, and also to review other content that we're creating and putting in both the app and on the parent portal. And eventually that might become more of a forum as well for parents to be able to communicate with each other. But that's down the track.
I think it's a great idea, because I know, speaking to a lot of parents, there's the idea of overwhelm with so much information, but where do you go to for specific information or specific
help? And who do you trust?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's a minefield out there. And looking at the tween and teen years, it is a massive chunk of your kids' lives, and a lot of parents approach those years with dread, and that's really sad. Because next thing you know, they're 18 and they're adults. They're not fully formed, but they're adults, and you've lost that time. So my mission and my vision for Zone is to try to demystify some of those years and make it much more of a, we call the parent portal navigating alongside the kids. you know, my eldest is 16, and I think 16-year-old boys are excellent. They do really silly things, but they're excellent at the same time. So, you know, I hope that other parents can feel the same way by having access to information that's relevant and helpful.
So what's the long-term vision for Zone? How big do you
Long-term
want this to be?
Look, I'd love it to be global. I'd love it to be helping kids every single day. Look, it needs to be commercialized in some way for that to happen. The app will always be advertising free. I want it to be a safe place for parents to know it's safe for their kids and for kids to not be bombarded with McHappy Meals and whatever else. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So it will always be advertising free, but at the same time, we will be looking at competitions and sponsored content from brands that we know and love to help us grow the app and grow the reach and access to kids elsewhere. So, you know, I would love to expand to other markets, other countries, and I would love it ultimately to, you know, almost a self-serving platform where the kids are creating their own content, and then it just becomes a community where they know it's safe, they know it's positive. It will always be moderated, but it's safe and it's relevant. So that's the long-term goal. I would love Zone to grow with our users too, and eventually have an adults version as well, because we can all do with positivity in our world, can't we?
Oh yeah, we sure can, because it's you know, as soon as you jump on social media, whether it's Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and you're just bombarded with a whole gamut of things, and it's like it can be really overwhelming, and it's like you just want to feel good, and sometimes when whatever your feed is feeding you, it just can make you, at the end of it, after scrolling, you just go, wow, do I feel any better? I don't think so, you know. So I think yeah.
I've just been writing this morning just a couple of articles to put in the app, you know, about gratitude and about friendship. And it's just sometimes even highlighting these things, that what makes you a good friend, that you go, oh, that's awesome. And, you know, I've so far had the absolute privilege of approaching a lot of amazing individuals and businesses to have access to their content through both the app and also the website. And that's been the best part of this journey so far, is incredible organizations like the Kindness Factory, like Michelle Mitchell, who I mentioned, like, you know, various other people who are very successful in their own right, who are very happy to share their wisdom to another audience for the greater good. You know, I like to think that we're making sunshine in people's lives, and collectively we can hopefully do a really good job of it.
Yeah, and I sincerely think we need more of it, especially, you know, especially for young people, because it's like stepping into that online world. You know, it's almost like the idea of your app, of Zone, is like a really good introduction of showing them how it can be, how positive it can be, how encouraging it can be, before they're fully unleashed into the chaos of the internet. And it's almost like you're training them to be a lot more savvy in what they're looking for, what they're searching for, and also what content will benefit them and feed their mind and feed their heart, really.
How it makes them feel, absolutely. You know, I think kids inherently believe in the good in the world, and there is so much good in the world. But as you say, algorithms feed you the negativity. The mainstream media feeds you negativity, and some stories are terrible and they need to be told, but you don't always need to find them straight away. And I just think that, yeah, we're hoping to curate the feed to make them realize all the good that's out there as well. And I think good then breeds good. You know, if you read about someone being kind, you want to be kind yourself. We want to look at ways that we can encourage that. And that's certainly an area I'm really excited about, is sharing random acts of kindness amongst the kids. You know, I had a beautiful post the other day from a boy who said, oh, there's a boy in my class, and he has autism and people aren't very kind to him. And he came up to me and he said, I'm really pleased that you're kind to me and you're my friend. And he said, I've never felt better. And I was like, that's exactly what it's about. It's articulating that, and it's making them realize that we're all part of this. We can all make each other feel better.
Yeah. And I think the world needs more of it. So I was going to say, Lauren, where can people find out more information about Zone?
So zone.app, so ZOWN.
I'll put it down here.
That would be amazing. So from there, you can find out exactly about it. There's a trailer on there with our little mascot, Zed. He teaches you a little bit about the app. And from there, you can download in all of the stores where you get apps. So Apple and Android, you can go straight and download. And then you can also have access to the parent portal from there as well. So parents and kids can go straight to zone.app, and that will then take you to the area that you need to find it. As I say, it is all free. It's all advertising free. And it's about making kids feel better about themselves. That's absolutely what our mission is.
And I thoroughly recommend all parents to go to the parent portal and check it out. There is so much great information there. Now, I ask this question of everyone, Lauren, what lights you up?
What lights me up? Look, the prospect of helping kids have a better future lights me up. And that's a really kind of stock standard answer, because that's what I'm trying to talk about right now. The kids light me up too, and their future lights me up. And, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Sydney. That lights me up too.
I love sunny days. Sunny days are great. And it sounds like with Zone, you're making the entire world a much sunnier day. Thank you, Lauren, so much for chatting with us.
Josh, really appreciate your time. Thank you.